going to show how to temper chocolate that we can then use to coat strawberries. Now, tempering is a controlled melting and cooling of chocolate in order to stabilize the chocolate so that when it sets up, it'll be shiny and it'll have a nice snap to it. So it's great for candies and dipping and coating things. Chocolate's composed of many different fat crystals, and the most important ones are the beta crystals. So as you temper the chocolate, you're controlling the formation of those crystals so that they're all small in size and uniform, and you'll get a better chocolate quality. Because as you slowly raise and lower the temperature, the large cocoa butter fat crystals repeatedly break down and reform, and then once the chocolate sets up, all of those crystals are in a nice linear chain and the chocolate is nice and smooth. If you don't control the temperature while you're melting, or if you don't temper the chocolate, you'll get all different sizes of the fat crystals, and your chocolate will be really grainy and won't have a good texture, and it'll be dull in appearance. It will also get fat bloom, which is kind of that gray or white surface on the top of the chocolate. It looks like it's moldy, but it's not. So you don't want to have that. You also, like I said, want to temper chocolate so that you get the nice shiny appearance, and so that when you break it, it snaps. If you don't temper the chocolate will be a lot softer and kind of crumbly. Tempered chocolate also raises the melting point so that the chocolate won't melt as much in your hands, but it will still melt in your mouth. And for candies and molds, you want to temper the chocolate because once it sets up, then the chocolate will shrink and it'll pop out of the mold easier. And the tempered chocolate is also stable at the room temperature, so it can sit out, so any candy that you want to have on display and looking nice without having to be refrigerated. Now, when you buy chocolate bars at the store, the chocolate is already tempered, but as soon as you chop it up and melt it, you've lost that temper, and you need to retemper so that the proper fat crystallization is there. If you don't temper the chocolate after you melt it, and you use it to coat strawberries or something, you'll have to put those in the refrigerator in order for the fat layers to stratify and to set up and to prevent the chocolate bloom. So it's better to temper the chocolate so that your candies can sit out and have a nice shiny appearance. Now, there are different methods of tempering. The traditional method uses a tabling method, and you have to have like a granite surface. So it's kind of complicated. I'm going to show a simpler method called the seeding method, and I'm going to use dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a good choice because it has a higher melting temperature, so it's a little easier to temper. And when it sets up, it has a nice snap to it. If you use milk chocolate, it has a lower melting temperature, so you have to control it a little more. It's a little more touchy, and it also has a higher percentage of milk solids and lower cocoa fat, so when it sets up, it's softer. So your best bet is to just use a chocolate bar, dark chocolate, and you just want to chop it up into rough pieces. In the first step, you take 2/3 of the chocolate and you put it in a bowl that can go over a double boiler or a pan on the stove. So what you want to do is you'll take the 2/3 over to the stove, and you'll just put it over gently simmering water. You don't want the water to be boiling, you just want it to be really gently boiling. And you're going to heat this up to 118 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And the chocolate should be melted at that point. Now, this could take a little bit, but you just want to do it really gently. You want to make sure you don't get any water or moisture into the chocolate, because that'll cause the chocolate to seize and get really grainy. And you don't want to heat it too high because you could scald the chocolate. So just really carefully melt this to 120 degrees. Okay, so once the chocolate gets to the 120 degrees, it'll be mostly melted and smooth. You just want to remove the chocolate, the top part of it, from the heat, and you're going to place it in a towel so that you can stir it and cool down the chocolate. And you're going to want to cool it down to 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to cool, and what you're going to do is the remaining 1/3 of chocolate, you're going to gradually add in, and this will melt and it'll help to cool the temperature of your chocolate. Now, this chocolate is the seed. The seed is the already tempered chocolate, so it's kind of helping to control the size of the beta crystals that are forming. And as you continually stir and mix this, Obviously the chocolate will cool down, it'll thicken as it cools, and you'll have a nice uniform consistency of particles. Like I said, you want to get this down to about 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so once you get to 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, you can see it's a thicker consistency. The last step is you're going to take it and you're going to put it back over the simmering water, not even on the heat, because all you want to do is raise it back up to about 88 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to go over this temperature because that'll basically lose the temper that you just created and you'd have to start over. So you just want to, for very little bit, put it back over the heat, and this will help to get it a nice smooth consistency that's the perfect working temperature for dipping. So it's just about there. You can see it's really smooth and glossy. Okay, so we're at 88. So I'm just going to take that off now, and then you can take a strawberry, and it's just really nice and smooth, glossy chocolate. Spin it right in there. Set it on some wax paper, and it'll set up within a few minutes. I did these earlier, and you can see the chocolate has already set up. It's nice and firm, it's smooth, it has a nice gloss. So now you know how to temper chocolate.